Hey boys and girls, we're going to start a new book today. It's called Halfway to Perfect, and today you're going to listen as I'm reading to you. So I'm going to read chapters 1 and 2, and then after I'm completed reading those 2 chapters, you're going to, in your reading response journal, under reading group, you will title it Halfway to Perfect, and you will answer 2 questions in your reading response journal under reading group today. So you just want to sit back and listen, and if you want to listen to the story again, the first 2 chapters, you can always go back and do that as well. Halfway to Perfect, it's written by it's a Diamond Daniel book, and it's written by Nikki Grimes and illustrated by R. Gregory Christie. So you can go back at any time. You can check out at the library. There's a whole series of these books here. There's probably 4 or 5, and this one's Halfway to Perfect. Chapter 1, Spaghetti Heaven. You'd never know it to look at her skinny little self, but Diamond loves food. If there were a class in eating, she'd get an A, plus every time. Diamond treats all foods fairly. She likes Mexican tacos, Chinese egg rolls, and Cuban beans and rice. She eats beef hot dogs, turkey burgers, and fried chicken. Actually, she likes just about anything that has chicken in it. Noodles, noodle soup, pot pies, chicken salad sandwiches even. Diamond doesn't have much use for vegetables, but she loves broccoli, mostly because each spear looks like a tree. And she loves fruit, especially peaches, cherries, and grapes of any size or even any color. Diamond also loves some of the foods that other people don't like. Cottage cheese and applesauce mixed together. Yuck, said Free the first time he saw her eat some. Oh, please, said Diamond, stirring more applesauce. You just wish you had a bowl full. Yes, Diamond loves all sorts of food, but her absolute favorite food in the whole wide world is spaghetti and meatballs with garlic bread. And guess what Mrs. Daniel had made the last time Free and Damaris came over? Diamond couldn't wait to sit down for dinner. The minute the bowl of spaghetti was placed on the table, Diamond's mouth began to water. Free licked his lips and reached for the bowl. Diamond cut her eyes at Free with a look that said, "Not yet." Damaris closed her eyes and waited until Mrs. Daniel finished saying grace. Then she reached for the basket of garlic bread. "Don't forget the salad," said Mrs. Daniel. Diamond scrunched up her nose, but she grabbed a few lettuce leaves to make her mom happy. Free plucked out some of the tomatoes and a slice of cucumber, but Damaris filled up her whole salad plate. "Yum," said Damaris. "Double yum," said Free. His mouth was already smeared with spaghetti sauce. "Gross," said Diamond, but Free ignored her. He was too busy making his tummy happy. Mrs. Daniel smiled, especially when Damaris asked for seconds. Free looked like one of those cartoon chipmunks. His cheeks were so full of food, Mrs. Daniel shook her head. "Free, if you don't watch it," she said, "you'll blow up like a balloon." "Yeah," said Diamond, "then I'll have to poke a hole in you. Watch you fly around the room backwards till all of the air comes out." Diamond and Free looked at each other and laughed. Damaris didn't laugh, though. She just put down her fork, saying she was full. "What about dessert?" asked Mrs. Daniel. "You saved room for that, didn't you?" "No, thank you," whispered Damaris. "I think I've had enough." Free shrugged. "More for me," he said, grinning. But something in Damaris's voice bothered Diamond. "Are you okay?" she asked her friend. Damaris nodded, so Diamond let it drop. Chapter 2. The Girl in the Mirror. Diamond was amazed at the silly things kids talked about at school. Take the next day. Diamond was in the girls' room taking care of her business when she overheard 3 girls blabbing away over the loud sputter of the water faucet going full blast. It was the 3 T's, Tanya, Talisha, and Tamika. Diamond would know their voices anywhere. Damaris was there too, but Diamond didn't know it. "Well, I may be the youngest in the class," said Talisha, "but I also weigh the least." "So what?" said Tanea. "I'm the most popular." "You wish," said Talisha. "Ugh," said Tanya. "I've got to go on a diet. I don't want to turn into a little piggy like Amberline." "She's not that big," said Tamika. "Are you kidding? Have you seen her poochy belly?" said Talisha. "Oh," said Tamika, "yeah. She must be stuffing her face when no one's watching," said Tanya. "Like when she's all by herself," said Tamika. "Which is like all the time since nobody wants to be her friend," said Talisha. "I know," said Tamika. "It's sad." Well, it's her own fault, said Talisha. That's what she gets for being so pushy. After that, Diamond heard the faucet switch off. The girls' voices faded away as the three left, their sneakers squeaking against the tile floor. Diamond straightened her clothes and went to wash her hands. That's when she saw Damaris pinching her waist and frowning at her reflection in the mirror. What's the matter? Asked Diamond. Damaris dropped her arms to her sides when she realized Diamond was staring at her. You scared me, said Damaris. Sorry, said Diamond, but what's wrong? Nothing, said Damaris, switching on the faucet. Then how come your face is all scrunched up like you're about ready to cry? Damaris bit her lip, scrubbing her face as if they had never been washed. It's no big deal, she said. Diamond wasn't having for it. She knew something was wrong. She crossed her arms and waited, staring Damaris down. After a minute of this, Damaris felt her shoulders sag. She dried her hands and turned her to face her friend. I think I'm getting fat, said Damaris, almost in a whisper. What? Diamond blinked. I think I'm getting fat. Diamond started to laugh, but Damaris gave her such a sharp look, Diamond stopped mid-giggle. I'm sorry, said Diamond, but who told you that? Nobody, but you heard them call Amberline a piggy, right? Diamond nodded. Well, I'm practically the same size as Amberline, so I must look like a piggy too. No, you don't, said Diamond. They were just being mean. Amberline is not fat, and neither are you. Damaris did not look convinced. Diamond put her hands on Damaris's shoulders and spun her around to face the mirror again. Look at you, said Diamond. You are perfect, just the way you are. Diamond gave Damaris a squeeze. Maybe not as perfect as me, said Diamond, but at least you're halfway, so that's pretty close. Damaris was surprised to see her lips curling into a smile. Diamond bumped hips with her. Let's get out of here, she said. Damaris followed Diamond out into the hall. Diamond didn't know it, but by the time the girls reached the homeroom, Damaris's smile had slipped away. So thinking about this, Spaghetti Heaven was the first chapter that we read. I want you to answer inside your reading response journal this question. How did Damaris feel at the end of the chapter? What could Diamond have done to help this situation? And at the end of Spaghetti Heaven, that is where the story ended. That, I don't know if you remember, but Mrs. Daniel was asking them if they wanted dessert, and Damaris said that she had enough. Free said, more for me, grinning. But something that Damaris had said bothered Diamond, and so Diamond was like, are you okay? She asked Damaris, and Damaris nodded that she was okay, so Diamond let it drop. So how do you think that Damaris felt at the end of that chapter? And what do you think that maybe Diamond could have done to help the situation, to help Damaris feel better if you think she didn't feel just what do you think that Diamond could have done to help her? So, and then the second chapter was called The Girl in the Mirror. And this, I want you to compare and contrast the differences between Damaris and Damaris to feel so sad. I want you to compare and contrast. That's not what I want you to do. I'm going to change that. I want you to compare and contrast Damaris and Diamond. So if you don't remember, change this to Diamond, not Damaris and Damaris. I want you to do Diamond. So Damaris and Diamond. Damaris is the girl that felt like she was getting fat, and then Diamond's the girl who said, maybe you're not as perfect as I am, but you're halfway to perfect. So if you can think about Damaris and Diamond, give me a couple of things that are the same and different about them, and we will meet in your reading group. Great job, guys.